it's special to get drafted by anybody and go to any franchise. So I don't know if there's one or the other that'd be better, but yeah, it would be special to stay home, stay close to Fort Worth, Dallas area, and be part of the Cowboy franchise.
Max, looking at your play style, it feels like you just take so many hits and kind of revel in that role of getting beaten up in big games. Kind of, how does that embrace your mentality, and do you leave it all on the field like this?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to competitiveness, and I think you understand your body and body type, especially in college. It's going to be a little different. You can't really live in that world in the NFL. There's guys that are bigger, stronger, run a little bit faster, and if you kind of live in that world, you're probably going to be off the field most of the time. But yeah, I think it just comes down to competitiveness. Just kind of my mindset when I'm out there doing everything I can to help us win.
Max, if you went with the Chiefs, and would you be willing to be a backup quarterback, assuming Mahomes?
Yeah, I haven't met with the Chiefs yet, but if that interview comes up, we get to meet. Yeah, I understand that there's a lot of teams in this league that have franchise quarterbacks and financial commitments and guys that are really successful. So if you get to go into the right situation, sit behind a one of the best in the league and learn a lot, would be pretty fortunate.
You don't want to talk to the Packers of the city, right?
Yes, sir.
Did they talk to them up here as well?
I haven't talked to him up here yet, but yeah, good conversations at the Senior Bowl, and again, just kind of same conversations, getting to know me, getting to know them, talk a little bit ball.
What do you want to show teams with the interviews and also your on-field work?
Yeah, I think interviews just get to know me as a person. I think a lot of it shows up on tape, and they kind of have a good feel about who I am as a player. But I think really get to know me about who I am behind the scenes, and I think just getting to talk ball, getting to get on the board, talk protections, talk scheme, just kind of getting to learn me as a player a little bit more that you can't really see on tape. And then on the field, just go out and show you're a consistent passer. You got velocity, your footwork's all cleaned up, and you want to compete against the best.
When you see what Brock Purdy did this year with the 49ers, do you think that kind of opens people's eyes to, hey, maybe we don't have to use a top 10 pick on a quarterback, something like that?
Yeah, I think it depends. There's been first overall picks that have had a lot of success, and there's been guys that have been picked last or gone undrafted that have had a lot of success. So I think it just, ranges and varies depending on situation that you got put in. But it also comes down to it doesn't really matter where you get picked at. Whatever, team you end up with, make the most of it. And it's, ultimately up to, was it the right fit? Are you with the right people, right franchise, all that.
Max, what would you say that you've really worked on the most through this pre-draft process?
Mostly probably just development of, my footwork, maybe mechanics, something that, I never really honed in on throughout college. I never had a private coach my entire life, so in the off season it was just kind of grabbing a bag of balls and going to throw with my receivers. So this time it's, been able for me to specialize in footwork and my mechanics to really clean up on.
Max, who are you working with?
Jordan Palmer in Orange County.
Who's your agent?
Brian McLaughlin, Vander Sports. Yeah, I've met with them a little bit, just informal interviews right now. Again, same conversations, getting to know me, getting to know them, talking a little bit of ball.
Have you been keeping in touch with Quentin and the other receivers? Are you still able to work out with them?
Yes, yeah, I'm still in touch with all of them. Obviously, it was difficult throughout the training process because we're all in different areas, and you get to meet up with them in the Senior Bowl and get to see them, and we'll all be back in Fort Worth in the next couple of weeks for Pro Day. So it's been fun though to stay in touch and see how their process is going.
How was Senior Bowl week? Accomplish some of what you're hoping for? You talk about improving your footwork. Anything else you're looking to either show this week or either?
Yeah, I think this week, showing that you're a consistent passer, you got velocity on the ball, you got good ball placement, you're accurate, and then it's learned a lot. You're going to show your knowledge of football, whether it's schematics, protections, and then you get to talk with all these coaches, GMs, quarterback coaches, and you get to learn a lot from them. And so that's been pretty fortunate for me.
Quarterbacks to emulate or compare your game to?
Jalen Hurts is probably someone I probably play most like. Just looking at what he does, just intangible assets of being a leader, being tough, gritty, fighting through adversity and leading a group of men. But also just physical traits. I think he's an underrated passer. He's a pass-first guy that is athletic enough to go make plays. Whether it's QB design runs, scramble drills, things like that, third and short. So Jalen Hurts is probably someone I'm probably most similar to.
You open the door for a guy like you that can use their feet in the NFL. Hey, these guys can run as well. We can use their feet in the game.
Yeah, I think the game's turned into that where, you need to kind of be mobile. And, mobile doesn't mean you need to run a 4.4. You look at a lot of guys that are just mobile in the pocket of making guys maybe miss by an inch of a step and be able to get the ball off or be able to go scramble on a 3rd and 6. You don't need to have to run a 4.4 to be able to do that, but, just be athletic enough to help your team. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see tomorrow.
Max, what have teams asked you about your playoff experience this past year, and how do you think you can leverage that as you prepare to get
Yeah, being able to play in Big 12 championship game, Fiesta Bowl, national championship, that's the closest you're going to get to an NFL style, league in college. So be able to play under the lights, have success, and be in those moments that have, been fortunate enough for me to be able to talk with teams about.
What would you say your biggest strength is, and how does it translate to the NFL level?
Biggest strength's probably my just competitiveness. I think, at this level, everybody can run, everybody can throw, everyone's a good athlete, but I think just competitive nature in the game, wanting to be under the lights, wanting to have the ball in your hands, wanting a group of men to lean on you, I think will, really help me going into this next, stage of my life.
That's assuming that you have. How did you get over that loss in the national championship?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get over it. That'll probably burn for a while, on a game like that and the biggest stage and, doesn't turn out the way we want to. But I think, there's just a lot that I'm still learning from it, how to come back from adversity, how to, mentally just get over a hump like that to almost erase it where you don't want to let it dictate too much, but, understand that there's things that I can get better at, from that game. So, still a learning process right now.
Max, what was the biggest thing you success?
Obviously I was surrounded by a lot of great players, teammates, coaching staff that really put me in a great position to be successful. And I think just going out there and being confident, being myself, cutting it loose, not being afraid to make a mistake. I think that was my problem in past years was, just playing a little tight and worrying about, trying to be perfect. And I think this year just, going out and just being confident.
Max, the Bucs are a team that only have one quarterback on the roster right now, Kyle Trask. Would that be an ideal situation to get drafted to a team like that, where you can go in right away and compete for the starting position? And what would it be like working with some guys over there? I mean, they have a lot of talent and wide receiver with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, it'd be, wherever you get to go, it'd be a tremendous position to go to. Obviously, there's different situations. Sometimes you have to, sit behind quarterbacks. Sometimes you get to go in there and compete. So, wherever you end up, just go in and make the most of it, compete your butt off, do whatever you can to help the team, help the quarterback that might be playing, help guys, that are coming in with you. But, yeah, to be surrounded by a great group like that would be, pretty cool.
You were held up by the medical. What was that about?
Oh, no, it was just the MRIs getting backed up. So there's nothing that I had to do. It was just long line. What was that?
What do you think you do best at the quarterback position in this class?
Yeah, I don't know if it's something I do best. There's a lot of great quarterbacks in this class that are really talented, but just knowing myself, I know that I compete, and I think that's the best thing that I do. I don't know if it's compared to other guys. I don't know these guys well enough. They're all really talented, and all you see of them is on tape. I haven't really got to know these guys too often, but they're all really talented. So just, focusing on myself, I know that I can control how I compete, so that's what I do.
You never played quarterback. Was there another position that you liked playing?
Yeah, so I've been a quarterback my whole life. My dad was a quarterback in college, kind of grew me that way. I guess when I was probably little league, like Pee Wee football, playing defense was kind of fun. You get to run around and hit somebody, so I don't know if I would have been like a safety. I'm not big enough to probably play safety, but I don't know. Always been a quarterback.
Max, what was that feeling like? I mean, your quick rise to fame. I mean, everybody, going crazy over you, like on TikTok and social media. What was that rise like for you?
Yeah, it's it was different. I understand that sometimes when you're on a team that's successful, you get put in the spotlight and all that. It's not something that I fairly enjoy or like being in it, but I understand that that's what comes with it, and trying to do your best to build up our school, TCU, and build up our teammates and put us in a good spotlight. So it was fun to have our school and team get the recognition they deserved.
What's the biggest thing you learned from Coach Dyke?
I think it's just how to be confident in yourself. That's something I really learned from him. He put confidence in us as players and as a program, and just, again, allowed us to go be loose and be aggressive and be bold and, not be afraid to make a mistake. So that was something I really took away from him.
Hey, Max, one of the things you've noticed is that every guy after they speak on the podium, they take their name tag with them. Is that something that they tell you guys to do, or is that because this means so much to them they want to collect these little names to preserve this moment?
Yeah, no one told us that we could take them, so I guess, if we're allowed to, we'll probably take them. But, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's a great experience. A lot of us, dream about being here. You watch the Combine growing up as a kid, so I think to be here, just taking it all in, because you only get to go through the draft process once.
Max, if you could sum up this experience in 3 words,
3 words. Let's think. Exciting, inspiring, and just maybe nervous, I think. And not nervous in a bad way, but, it's inspiring to be here because you get to help a lot of kids that, can look up to you, that, have dreams of being here. We were once those kids that were here. And just, I think just the nervous part is not in a bad way, but excited in that way of, you don't know how this process is going to go, but you get to see how, each meeting gets to go. You're excited for the next day to go compete against the guys, and you're going to see where this process, takes you. But, it's an exciting time. Thanks, Max. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Am I allowed to take this? Okay.